And check this out. This is something else I wanted to make sure I mentioned this. So this is something else I was talking with my son about as far as the eye test when it comes to looking at comparing who the players were in the 90s, 80s, 70s. We go back to 60s and say because that guy didn't look, when we're looking back, not in real time, but we're looking at the game in just a vacuum in that moment and saying that guy doesn't look athletic. There's no way that he can be good. Mm-hmm. But then who are your two top players right now? They don't look athletic. You got the Joker, you got Luka.
Not that they don't look,
they're not athletic, but they're the two top players in the league right now. And if somebody 20, 30 years from now goes back and puts up tape and saying that's who you lost to, that guy can't move. He sucks. He's not athletic. He's not skilled. He can't play basketball, but that's who you lost to. But those same players look exactly like the players in the 80s and the 90s, skill-wise. Luka looked almost exactly like Detlef Shrimp.
He's a throwback player. Luka's and Joker. They throwback players.
They look just like
Kawhi Leonard's a throwback player. Like, these guys are throwback players. The way
he plays sometimes looks exactly like Tony Kukoc. You know what I'm saying?
Just like it, bro. Just like it.
Reminds me of but the thing is, like, if you just go off the eye test and you take yourself out of the moment in time, like, I can't deny and say Joker's not a great player. Like, he's balling. He's doing his thing. And like, man, there's nothing you can do about it. But just off the eye test, and I'm telling you, 30 years from now, 20 years from now, you're going to look back and say that player wasn't great because of how he moved on the court. And they look at these guys and say, oh, Kareem, that's your guy, Mr. Skyhook. That's who y'all call the GOAT.
Yeah. Some kids is going to do it right back to y'all. It's coming. And and here's another point. Speaking of how easy it is to score in this league, we going to act like in 2016, Kobe Bryant didn't score 60 points in his last game as an old man. Yeah. Came in the league in 96. You know what I mean? Like, he scored 60. What you think a prime Kobe really would have been doing against these guys? And Kobe is not better than Jordan. That's his carbon copy. That's Jordan's carbon copy. So for y'all that think Jordan wouldn't have done nothing in y'all league now, y'all crazy.
That's a good point. Kobe was getting off in, like you said, 2016. And Kobe is almost the same player that Jordan was. And if Kobe was able to do that, you don't think Jordan could do the same? That's a good point. I was making this this correlation with my brother, right? My oldest brother. And it was more so of a one-on-one player. Who's the better one-on-one player? Is it Jordan or LeBron, right? And if they played one-on-one, would LeBron best Jordan? And I said no. I stood firm on that because there's a clip out there where Kobe and LeBron go ISO, right? Mm-hmm. And LeBron had nothing for Kobe.
You got a glimpse of what it would look like.
Nothing for Kobe. So for me, that was that glimpse to say if Kobe locked down LeBron, and there's several instances of this on film where Kobe's locking down LeBron in ISO, and LeBron has absolutely nothing. Yeah. What do you think he would do against Jordan? The same absolutely nothing.
Yeah, the inventor of those moves that Kobe was using. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Kobe was getting busy on him. Then on defense, Kobe was locking them down, and LeBron was just looking very human. And this is no diss against LeBron. Like I said, he's number 2 all time. But I'm just saying.
Yeah, man. LeBron is great, man. It always sounds like, people don't think he's great when we get into this. But like we always say, whenever you start talking about the top level, you got to start nitpicking. That's the only way to separate and show the division amongst the highest level. So LeBron's great, man, but he just, I don't know, man. We lived through all of it, and it just don't seem like he could. I don't think he would have nothing for it, man. You know what I'm saying? That's all it comes down to.
And I hate to put this all on LeBron's back. The whole we done with the 90s. It's kind of
that's his fans. That's his fans. It's his fans.
You think it's his fans that's doing this?
Without a doubt, it's his fans because they going around pushing the narrative to bring Mike down. See, when you got to bring somebody else down to uplift somebody,
yeah, it is a direct attack. A lot of these we done with the 90s. It is a direct attack on Jordan. Yeah. So you got a point. Yeah. Yeah. Because the
It's a
whole thing
direct
with the
attack.
90s is a direct attack on Michael Jordan. It is.
Yeah,
It
man.
is.
And I even
I feel like
heard
Scottie
Gilbert
Pippen is
Arenas
behind it
come
too.
out and try to act like
Scottie and
Jordan was
LeBron.
on PEDs now all of a sudden because the LeBron PED talk came out.
Yeah,
It's
I
like,
heard
man, get out of here, bro. Like, man, y'all crazy as hell, man. Like,
Yeah.
get out of here with that.
I think LeBron and Pippen got together and said, "Hey, man, we got to do something. Help me, I help you. Scratch my back, I scratch yours."
It's looking crazy, man. Like you ain't got to bring. Look, man. Ultimately, we go back to we're like a broken record with this. None of us were Jordan. Me and D, not Jordan fans.
Not
you know
Jordan
what I'm saying? But at the same time, what's real is real, man. The dude he's the standard. Jordan is the bar that's been set ultimately for greatness and for greatest of all time. He's the bar. Now, whatever sport you talking, whatever genre you talking, people say, is that the Michael Jordan of that? Therefore, you're the standard. You're the bar. Is he the Michael Jordan of football? That's the standard. So when you done with the 90s and you trying to be done with Mike, you trying to be done with standards because you couldn't reach it honestly. So now you got to try to steal it.
It's a bar.
And that's where we at now. They trying to steal the crown because they can't live up to standards no more, man. Yeah. Just meet the standard of greatness, man. He's the standard. And if you want LeBron to be the standard, he just slightly missed it. Just slightly. Kobe just slightly missed it too. You know what I'm saying? It ain't no harm in it. Somebody will eventually outdo Mike as long as people just keep playing with effort. But as long as you had this league where there's no effort, you can never top a dude that gave his all on the court. And that's the difference, man. That's the difference.
Yeah, man.
Mike left it all on the floor every night. You know what I'm saying? And I don't see a lot of guys doing that no more.
Every year, playing 80-plus games a year. That says something. So all in all, I say we not done with the 90s. And I got so much. We could have went so far deep.
We could have kept cooking on this.
Done with the 90s. And yeah, it's more to this. And we're not even just talking about basketball. Like, and before we close this out, just to say this, like we went from a time of people relishing the 90s as of recent, right? So now we done with the 90s. And not just talking about basketball, but I heard this in music. I heard this with so many other different areas of the 90s. It's like maybe we're just sounding like old heads and we're just looking into our 90s era and we're nostalgic with it, which is fine. Most people are going to be nostalgic about the era that they grew up in. But the 90s had it, man. The music in the 90s, ball in the 90s, the movies in the 90s, the soundtracks in the 90s. Now we ain't done with the 90s. We ain't done with the 90s.
Yeah. Hey, look, man, I think if you could put some of these games in HD and make them look clear, the kids could enjoy it a little bit more. You know what I mean? But like, yeah, man, it's not going to have some of the fancy crossovers they weren't allowed. It's not going to have, the music ain't going to have some of the clarity in it or the fancy 808s because they won't doing it yet. But
yeah,
it was quality in it. It was an effort that was in it. The music had an effort in it because people would spend weeks and months on a song sometime versus freestyling it. It's just an effort that's missing nowadays. And I think the old heads just would like to see a little more effort. It's not that the talent's not there, but just try.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just try.
And that's one thing, like I would say this, like you just said, not the talent that's not there. I've never said, or I haven't heard too many people from the 90s like that of our age group that say that people aren't talented. No, there is still talent out there. It's just the quality that's coming along with that talent. The work ethic that's coming along with that talent is how that talent's being pushed through. The talent's still there. The talent's still there. And the creation process has just taken a hit. It's just not what it used to be. And instead of the generation now taking heed to that, they get offended by that.
Right.
And instead of getting offended by that, just take heed to it and say, okay, now there's a quality to our work that we can still put into it so we can continue to take this thing to another level. So we can take the game to another level. So we can take the music to another level. So we can take art to another level.
Right.
It's okay to take the criticism and we've always been the 90s were criticized by the 80s and the 70s. The 70s were criticized by the 50s. But the differences between those eras and this era now is we didn't fire back the way that that they're firing back at us. Like you said earlier, when we first started the 90s, is the fact that we've attacked them. But guess what? It's not like the 90s weren't under attack either. It wasn't like the 2000s were under attack either. It's just we took heed to it and we stepped the game up a little bit still. We still made sure we put some quality out there. Yeah. But now it's like, how dare you say something about me? I'm going to bring up this footage and see this air ball. But what about your air balls? That still doesn't change your air balls.
Don't change yours.
The fact that LeBron hit the side of the backboard too, and he threw the ball out of bounds too. Guess what?
Yeah.
Your criticisms, just take ownership of it and listen to it, take heed to it, and better yourselves from it.
Better yourself, man. We trying to keep all the games alive, man. This is a lot of the old heads is just passionate about the sport they grew up on and they love, and they don't want to see it die. We really all just want to see a good game. I really just want to hear good songs on the radio. Yeah. So when we say this stuff, it ain't to bring you down, but a lot of y'all are the participation trophy kids, and you're performing like it. You know what I'm saying? So stop getting offended. You put that well. Stop being offended. Take something from it that will allow you to grow and to keep this stuff alive so the next generation can do it after you, instead of allowing AI to take it over and now we ain't got nothing for us to do in our free time in the future.
Yeah, man. Hey, just like that Bill Evans you sent me, my man, give me some of that AI. Give me some of that AI Bill Evans, because they ain't doing it. They ain't doing it right. So I'll take the AI. I'll be willing to take the AI because they ain't doing it right.